or more. Granny's livid that the young gun went back to San Diego State and left her high and dry, so she had to go out and get a fresh sack of the acid cat hybrid in New York City. The Big Apple. Ooh. People dressed in plastic bags, directing traffic, some kind of fashion shake-up. She do all my friends come around, fight the fire party up, rats on the west side, bedbugs uptown. What a mess, this town's a town of my brain splattered all over Manhattan. I'm so hot for her and she's so cold. I'm the burning flame. Hey, it's Ferrall with your boy Carver High today. Mafia with AJ Foyt, I think, running it back at headquarters. A birthday roll call on a misery Monday. Dylan Brooks, 28 with Russell Gage and Josh Ho-Sang. Ty Montgomery, 31 with his ring. Greg Oden, 36. Leon Poe, 40 with Ubaldo Jimenez and Ben Eager. Jose Valdez, 41 with Sean Cody. The Cody brothers from Animal Kingdom. I'm just kidding. Jason Peters, 42. Jake Grove, 44. Carlos Ruiz. Did you like that one, Mafia? Honestly. Ruiz, 45. Chone Figgins, 46. Reggie Barlow, 51. Bucky Brooks, 53. And Brian Jones, 56. Is that my boy, BJ? This is crazy over here. From CBS? That's my guy? Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. All right, we get right to it. The Chiefs did it again to the Bills, 27-24. This time they did it in Buffalo. Tyler Bass, Shankopotamus City, as he sends one reeling off to the right to tie it and send it to overtime. I had the overtime piece at plus 752 for a hundo. All I needed was the guy to make the field goal, and I was cashing tickets. Fail. Josh Allen, we got him. Patrick Mahomes, we got him. Andy Reid on another tough battle with the Bills. And Mahomes and Kelsey break the all-time mark of Brady and Gronk playoff TDs. I mean, that combo meal is working like big time. Now they're the kings of the castle. Morency will join us this very hour. He can't be in a good mood. Lions beat the Bucs 31-23. I can't believe I covered the 6. I can't believe that Baker Mayfield threw the pick at the end of the game. I thought he played a great game. I thought he was throwing dimes to Evans. He had it all going. You knew they were going to go down and score and go for 2 and send it to overtime. Nope, they throw the pick. Gibbs with a huge TD for the Lions. Gibbs was the difference in the game for Detroit, no question about it. Dan Campbell, so proud. We'll hear from him. Zach Ertz signs with the Lions today, may play in the NFC title game. We've got their Super Bowl odds. The Niners beat the Packers. They got lucky, 24-21. They got it done. I won't deny it. Packers had it in the bag. Their kicker is awful. His brother is awesome. The guy in Green Bay is terrible. He misses all the time. I won't be surprised they get rid of him. We tried to get Morency and I to sneak the brother in, or I think Ranieri to sneak the brother in. We wanted to get the brother in to kick the field goal instead of the guy that misses all the time. Greenlaw with his second pick of the game seals the win for the Niners. We got that for you. Kyle Shanahan as well. Niners, talking about Debo, 50-50 this week with another injury. I mean, this guy, he's literally injured every week. I mean, he just doesn't play football, does he? I know he's awesome. I know he's incredible when he plays once every 2 months. The Ravens beat the Texans 34-10. I hit the over in that game. We got Lamar and that sweet pass to Isaiah Likely, and he climbed the ladder to get it in the end zone. Great catch. Lamar on his speech at halftime. We'll hear from the MVP. 2-time. He'll win his second MVP. NFL playoffs bracket. We got the conference round schedule. Kansas City and Baltimore first at 3 o'clock on Sunday. Morency and I will be doing that on in-game live access from 3 to 6:30. And then the nightcap, Detroit and San Francisco from stonewashed denim jeans at Santa Clara at Levi's. Odds to win the Super Bowl, we got it, and Super Bowl MVP odds. Jim Harbaugh's second interview with the Chargers today. By the way, we welcome our radio affiliate, Sirius XM, Channel 159, Sports Byline, and their radio affiliates out of San Francisco. Deepak holding it down for us. Bill Belichick had his second interview with the Falcons. The Eagles fire their defensive coordinator. They're interviewing Ron Rivera for the job. Oh, here we go with this guy again, honestly. Bears hiring former Seahawks OC Shane Waldron as their new OC. You know, did such a great job this year in Seattle with the 9-8 Seahawks. I mean, they were really a offensive juggernaut, weren't they? They got their coach fired is what they did. Chip Kelly drawing interest as an OC in the NFL. Could the Steelers be interested in him? Everyone else they've had in that spot has been atrocious. Davis Lee Rothmatic will join us with his picks for tonight. Talk a little games with him and baseball, whatever we got to do. Jennifer Hammond, sports reporter on Fox 2 in Detroit, telling us all about the scene in the Motor City. She'll join us today as well in the second hour. We got Today in Carver High history. And, of course, the Clippers. How about that fourth quarter? 41-15. They outscored the Nets. That was embarrassing for Brooklyn, honestly. A 22-0 run. They were down 18. How do you lose that game? It's unbelievable. Magic beat the Heat 105-87. Nuggets beat the Wizards. Joker with 42 and 12. The double-double. Celtics over the Rockets 116-107. The Zinger with 32. Suns beat the Pacers 117-110. I was laying 4.5. I had to win by 5. They win by 7. KD with 40. Still asking why he's not included in the GOAT conversations. My man's always tripping about what people say about him. He just wants to be the greatest player ever. And he always does it. Like, why aren't they talking about me? Lakers beat the Blazers 134-110. D'Lo with 34. His last game, he had 29. Backed it up with a 34-piece. Trae Young, ice tray and concussion protocol. Tonight's games, we got them all. The game of the night, Boston and Dallas in the Big D. Islanders over the Stars in overtime. First game for Patrick Waugh. He takes over for fired Lane Lambert. Your boy Lou Lamoriello at 82 years old, still making deals, fires Lambert and brings in Patrick Waugh. I like the move. I like Waugh. He wins wherever he goes. He ran that team in the Quebec Juniors. They won titles. Everyone doesn't like him because he speaks his mind, tells it like it is, and is cocky. Same as when he played in goal. That's why he's got all those Stanley Cups. That's what they needed on the island was a winner, and they finally got one. Since they effed up the Barry Trotz deal and fired him, they finally brought back a guy that can win. We got all of tonight's games, including Vegas at the Rock against the Devils, Pens in Arizona, and San Jose at the Kings. There's more, Chicago, Vancouver, you name it. How about the Pitt players trolling Duke at Cameron Indoor over the weekend? We got all the college basketball. It's Coast to Coast on a Monday. Go with us.
Thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams, and in the first half I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game, and I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I can see why people would bet Boston at minus about 45. But I think the two of them are so exciting and so talented and so awesome. I went with and made the bet of the over 6.5.
There are issues with football character. Always doing the right thing, being in the right spot, being highly coachable. Why do they continue to fail in the big moments? It's football character, Ferrall. It's not a talent issue. That has nothing to do with it.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I'm not going to lie. I'm a Knicks fan. I feel bad for Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin was backing up Julius Randle, and then he got his opportunity in Indiana, was playing great, didn't play deep, brought him off the bench, and now they got Pascal Siakam, and now he's going into a free agent year. So Obi may be looking for a new home, but I do like that fast break if it's Halliburton with Obi and Siakam.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The Early Line,
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Ferrall,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time decisions.
I have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took them
time.
yard for a grand slam.
In the bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was
Late
good betting.
Night.
We waited for the 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on. There's no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Time to turn talk into action. Step 1, fire up your BetMGM Sportsbook. Step 2, make your pick. And Step 3, showtime. Now that hunch has some weight to it. Every play, every game means something more. Because now, you're betting with the king of sportsbooks.
Yeah, I've told people so many times, if you don't listen to me, I mean, I'm about done with you. Get the app, the SportsGrid app. I turn people on every day to it, and then I got to sit there and explain it to them. This thing's so easy. You press listen, you press watch, you're watching us. You press Carver High, you follow your favorite host. You press listen if you think we're ugly. And it's free on iOS and Android. Does that not sum it up? I mean, how many times do I have to go through this? Seriously, because I tell people, like, what do you mean you press with the listen, with the... And I'm like, oh, God. I mean, how many times do I got to repeat myself? Like, it's easy. I mean, my dog can do it. My dog is actually right now watching on his own iPhone, the 15 he got, and he's watching right now. He's a big fan of Carver High. One other thing, Carver High, I know everyone's getting excited about Big Game 58, but nobody more than BetMGM. They're giving out $158 if you bet $5. So if you bet 5, they give you 158 in bonus bets. It's unbelievable. Sign up for the BetMGM app on iOS or Android. Go to BetMGM.com. Open your new account with $5. Place a bet for 5 at standard odds. And once you place a bet, you're going to get $158 in bonus bets, regardless of the outcome of your wager, instantaneously. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened, I think, in the world. Before, I think I said just in America. And now I've changed my mind. I think it's the greatest thing that's ever happened in the world.
I think it's the greatest thing that's ever happened in the world, too. I'll tell you who's not as excited about Big Game 58 anymore. Me. I'm not that excited about Big Game 58 anymore. I'll tell you that.
Listen.
You can have it in a couple of weeks.
I knew that we had a funeral today, and, I had a funeral last week, and I had my funeral while you and Morency threw the dirt on the coffin. So that was even worse. Look, I have to tell you, everybody knows what we're talking about here. The Bills losing again. And it really is unbelievable to me. And I know people get all excited that I said I thought the Bills needed to exercise their demons and win the game. And I was rooting for the Bills and I wanted them to win. I said it 5,000 times. And then you morons think I have something to do with it. Like, did you see me playing quarterback last night or catching passes or making tackles or coaching? I got nothing to do with this. Get real, like catch up to reality. But here is what the reality is of this team. They can't beat Patrick Mahomes. That's been established. when it matters. Regular season means nothing. Playoffs is everything. And every time this guy ends their season, and he did it at Highmark, he literally went in there and I thought played the perfect game. He went untouched. I don't think he sweat for 1 second. And they got all kinds of issues. Let me start with Diggs. Diggs has stopped being a good receiver. He hasn't had a 100-yard game in a half of a season. He hasn't literally, since like week 9, he hasn't had a 100-yard game. And he's $27 million cap hit. Von Miller's 35. He's finished. He's a $24 million cap hit. Micah Hyde, 33, and has no contract. Jordan Poyer, 33. He's only signed through next year. Tre'Davious White, 29, torn Achilles, 16 cap hit. Floyd, Jones, Lawson, Phillips, Joseph, all free agents. All they have is Epinesa, Settle, Ford. They're free agents too. And then Milano, he'll be back, but he broke his leg. Will he be the same player? Mitch Morse turns 32. He's had a lot of concussions. And Gabe Davis is as good as gone in Buffalo, as sure as I'm sitting here. And the thing that amazes me today, to be honest with you, is that I never once heard anyone say Sean McDermott should get fired. How many times are you going to lose to the Chiefs and you keep this guy around?
You can hear it here. If you didn't hear it anywhere else today, you can hear it here. And I'll say this first. I think this year was his best coaching job. When they were 6-6, firing Dorsey, putting Brady in, building the defense back up after losing White and Milano and all those guys you were just talking about, getting the defense back to where they played well. But there comes a time, Scotty, when you just got to look in the mirror if you're the Pagulas and you're the people that own the Bills and say, something's got to change because the same things happened to us 4 years in a row now. Something's got to change. And you can't change the players. We do that all the time. There's a lot of guys leaving, you're right, older players, whatever. It's time. You need a new voice in there. You need somebody else to change the mojo around the team. And it's Sean McDermott. It is what it is. You got to fire the coach to change things up. I know that we talk a lot about Allen. Scotty, Allen's 27 years old. He's got a lot of football left in him. And I think that on the list of people that we're going to sit here today and take whacks at for losing that game, he ain't up there on it. And I know he made a bad throw to Shakir on the third down in the end zone with just out of the 2-minute warning. That was the only bad throw he made all day. He hit Diggs with a dime 60 yards down the field, and the dude dropped it. He hit the guy Sherfield twice down the field for 30, 40 yards, he dropped it both times. There's only so much the guy can do. And everybody taking whacks at Josh Allen today because he never beats Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game. Let me just tell you, Mahomes, you want to know why he wins every year? He's great, but you want to know what else he has? The team around him. That defense last night stepped up in the second half and finally stopped the run. The Bills were running through him the whole first half. They made adjustments. They stopped the run. They changed the game. His guys caught passes. You know, that's you need other guys around you. This is not a Josh Allen problem. This is the rest of the team problem. That's what needs to change in Buffalo, and they have time to do it because he's 27.
Well, the thing with him is that he's brilliant. I got nothing but respect for him. He's a savage. He's a $47 million cap hit now. He's real. He's on the books now because they have never paid him. And now, next year, they're paying him $47 million. And all I know is the reason, everything you said is perfect. And it's the reason of this guy's so good. No one wants to admit, and because I can't stand him either. I can't stand this team. I can't stand every year they're in the title game in the Super Bowl. I can't stand it. But it's because Mahomes is so brilliant. I thought he went in there like a surgeon and sliced them to pieces. He barely threw an incomplete pass the entire game. Yet he didn't have to throw for that many yards or do anything because every one of his strikes just got him down the field and scored. Every time the Bills scored, they scored. And think of this. If they don't fumble Hardman out of the end zone, they win by 10. God. The game was over. But this guy, Bass, came in. That was way worse than Norwood in the Super Bowl. Same yard, 44 yards. It was way worse, Shank.
But I look at it this way, and I know you had the ticket for the overtime. There would have been like $1.25 left. Mahomes would have won the game. He would have won the game even if he made the field goal. He would have got them in field goal range. Butker never misses. They would have got down there and probably won the game 30-27. Would have been the final, and the Chiefs would have won. And here's the other thing for me, too. You talk about pressure. There's one level of the Bills' defense that was healthy yesterday and all year, and that's their defensive line. There were no injuries there. Ed Oliver, Von Miller, Russo, all these guys. They didn't breathe on Mahomes all day.
Not once.
Didn't breathe on him. And that's the part of the team that Bean's been drafting year after year. Let me draft another defensive end. Here's what I want him to do this year, Scotty, if all these guys stay around. Because you're right. He's going to be $47 million on the cap next year. You know what you need to do? You need to take a wide receiver in the first round, the second round, the fourth round. Do what the Packers did the last 2 years. You got to get a ton of young wide receivers on the cheap that actually are good, and that's how you got to build that offense. You got to get guys who can catch out there for the
Listen,
Bills.
and I thought the Bills' offensive line protected Allen the same way. He didn't get sacked either. Both quarterbacks did their thing without any hits or even after throw hits or roughing or any of that. It was just you give that guy Mahomes that much time, you're dead.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams, and in the first half I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game, and I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I can see why people would bet Boston at minus about 45, but I think the two of them are so exciting and so talented and so awesome. I went with and made the bet of the over 6.5.
There are issues with football character. Always doing the right thing, being in the right spot, being highly coachable. Why do they continue to fail in the big moments? It's football character, Ferrall. It's not a talent issue. That has nothing to do with it.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The early
race
line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterback,
Ferrall
backup quarterback.
Coast to Coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was
Late
better.
Night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid
We
information. Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, right? The great Morency is on, per usual, on C2C on a Misery Monday, and we knew yesterday the game was starting when we got done doing the great Tampa-Detroit game, which was awesome. We knew that they were going to kick off after that, and, Blue and Ranieri were doing the game. All I know is, Gabe, I hit the Tupac tutty, and I had the overtime at 7:50. I had it at 7:70. I had it, in my fingers, and then Shankopotamus came in and whipped it right, and I just lost. All I hit was Shakir. That was it. Of all your bets that you had going, because you had literally a California roll call of bets going, how did it turn out? I know I feel horrible for you and Carver High, your team, as bad as I feel when my team lose. Like Alan said, losing sucks. I've lost championship basketball games with Mafia a bunch of times, and we've won a ton of championships. I don't even remember the wins. All I remember is the losses. They suck. Super Bowl losses suck, and playoff losses suck, and it's just a nightmare.
Yeah, it's tough. The day after you wake up and, you want to move on. And this is the tough thing about being in the business that we're in. Because if you're just a sport fan and your favorite team loses, you can turn it off, right? You can turn it off. You can watch a movie. You can go out. We can't turn it off. We've got to talk about it the next day, right? We've got to watch it. And there's nothing worse than hearing the same things over and over of why they lost and should they do this and should they do that. But honestly, really, like the Buffalo Bills are sort of like a fat, ugly dude that goes to the bar, Scott, and goes home empty-handed all the time. Surprised that they didn't, you know what I mean? Tonight's going to be the night, right? Everybody's been there, right? You get your shirt on, and you know what I mean? Tonight's going to be the night. And what happens? You end up back on the couch with your loser buddies playing a video game at the end of the night because things didn't work out again. It's just not meant to be. You know what I mean? It's just not meant to be. Buffalo is like a dude that goes on the Bachelor TV show and will never get picked, Scott. It's just like one, and we can talk about like a missed field goal here, a missed that. It doesn't matter. Really? Is it Bass's fault? You can go through everybody. All right, McDermott, you're an idiot for running fake punts like that. Whatever.
No,
it is what it is.
It is Bass's fault.
Stephon Diggs drops a perfect, one of the greatest passes in the history of the National Football League. 80 yards through the air, cuts through the wind. Would have won the game. It would have won the game. It would have been like, wow, like that play in a century. It goes through his hands, right? And then after Josh Allen has Stephon Diggs wide open over the middle of the field. All he has to do is just dump it off to him. Bills would have had like an 18-yard field goal or something at worst after, Scott, but no.
Right.
Allen's got to go for it all into the end zone. All right? It's just, it's not one. Like the Bills really do lose as a team. It's a collection. It's never one thing. Even the Norwood stuff was overplayed. You remember that game? The reason the Bills lost to the Giants that year, they couldn't stop Otis Anderson. Point blank. The Bills had the ball for 19 minutes, 41 minutes to 19. But a bunch of jackasses, Norwood. Whatever, dude. I don't blame anybody. We all lost together. It is what it is. They'll never win. I've come to terms with it. I don't know why. I don't know how, but it's just they'll never win.
When my teams lose, so I'm such a wreck. Like when the Penguins or the Steelers lose in the Super Bowl or in the Stanley Cup Finals, because I've been there, done that. I lost to the Cowboys, and I lost to the Packers, and I've seen them win 6. I've seen them win 6 Super Bowls, 5 Stanley Cups. But when they lose, the next day, I won't even turn a TV on. That's how mad I get.
The worst.
I don't care about doing this show. I care about, I can't watch the highlights of it again and hear, the sportscaster on ESPN, knobbing the winners, and then you start reading about what are they going to do in the off season? What's next for the Bills? I want to drink whiskey. Losing sucks. I don't want anything to do with it the next day. I need a 24-hour layoff.
But if you're a sport fan, it's much worse if the team has never won before. And there's not that many teams that never won before, in a sense.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a Raptor fan. And like since day one when they started, I started to follow them, and then I started to grow on me, and then 25 years later. But when they used to lose before they won, it was gut wrenching. Like near tears, gut wrenching. I hate LeBron with a passion. We can't beat him. Raptors were winning 58 games every year, Scott. DeRozan and Lowry were badasses, and then they're called losers every year at the end of it. It was like painful to watch. Then they won a championship. Now when they get eliminated, it's like, yeah, that sucks, but and you sort of have that, like the Dodgers. I get upset when the Dodgers lose, but it's like, yeah, whatever. We'll be back and we've won. It's part of this. The Bills is just gut wrenching, bro. Like I've been a Bills fan. I don't know why I did this to myself, Scott. Like in the early 70s.
But at least you like Michigan.
Yeah, I got a good run out of that this year, buddy. Thank God.
And the Dodgers win, and Toronto's won. Now, what's worse, because you were younger, but you weren't that young when they lost the 4 Super Bowls. I thought those Bills teams were the best, some of the best. That was the best football team maybe I've ever seen in the AFC with Kelly running it up for 4 years in a row and then losing 4 Super Bowls. The Vikings were different. The Steelers beat them once in New Orleans at Tulane Stadium. But what is this losing to Mahomes doing to your mind and soul? I'm sick and tired of this, dude. It drives me nuts watching him win. Oh.
Yeah, so am I. I'm pulling for Lamar Jackson big time next week, but it doesn't affect me any way near shape or form like it used to. Like you said, like when the Bills used to lose those other Super Bowls, like when they lost the last one to the Cowboys, I don't think I talked to anyone for 3 months, let alone 3 days. No, you know what I mean? I was like depressed and just sort of I lost the 4 Super Bowl in a row. Yeah, I lost. People in Buffalo, we always take this, each city handles it differently. All kidding aside, Pittsburgh, it's actually
Pittsburgh and Buffalo the worst.
They did a study, and Pittsburgh gets the angriest. There's the most arrest, violence,
suicide,
domestic, everything. It just gets ugly when the Steelers lose.
No one goes to school.
Mad. Yeah, people are mad. Buffalo just gets sad, bro. Today in Buffalo, I promise you, it's just stone cold silence.
It's the worst.
I've been there the morning after these games, bro. And it's like a bomb went off. It's there was
it's the worst.
You know what I mean? No, it really is. And it's always dark and dreary, right? So you're like, oh, God.
So what do you think? Do you think that Mahomes will do it again next week? Because I don't know if anyone can beat him. He just is because
our defense sucks. And no excuses. But we basically
they don't suck at anything, bro. They don't suck at anything. That's 6 straight title games. They don't suck at anything.
No, I'm saying the Buffalo Bills defense, they won yesterday because the Bills defense, and I'm not using that as an excuse because we would have found a way to lose anyways. But I'm just stating, the Ravens defense isn't without 7 starters. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a little bit different. It just is. The Ravens don't have that same failure around them as the Bills do. John Harbaugh's won, right? Jim and John both won. He just won. He's won a Super Bowl before. So he doesn't have that. It's never happened for them. Now, Lamar does, but I do believe that Baltimore are going to beat them. And there's nothing spiteful. And it's funny because you say that. Everyone's like, screw Taylor Swift. They don't want to see Taylor Swift. I find Mahomes more annoying than Taylor Swift. I don't care about Taylor Swift. I got no beef with Taylor Swift. It's not her fault they show her sitting in the stands or in a suite. But Mahomes is freaking annoying, bro. He just is. At this point,
she's more famous than him. She's more famous than all of them, all over the world. No one cares about some football player. He's super popular. That chick is worth billions every time she puts on a dress and sings. It's unbelievable. So what do you think is going to happen with the Lions now that they've made it to the NFC Championship game and they got to go to Santa Clara? You and I talked about it yesterday. I don't think the Niners look good at all. I'm worried since they haven't looked good 2 games in a row that they will look good now.
Yeah, that's the thing. I sort of, I get that feeling as well. They hadn't played in a couple of weeks. Green Bay came in hot. They were rolling early, but San Francisco still found a way. And listen, this is a hell of a story for Detroit, man. right? They've never made it to a Super Bowl, but they're up against it here. They haven't won in San Francisco since 1975, Scott.
Yeah, that's something out. They're doomed.
Like they are. Like, come on. It's dude, and you know this. The Super Bowl logo is purple and red. It couldn't be any more Niners and Ravens-ish.
Oh, yeah,
and I have a tweet here, too. I have a picture here, too. There was a CTV in Canada a couple of days ago, had an ad running on the chyron on the bottom of the ticker, said, don't forget, Super Bowl Sunday halftime show with Usher and the Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers. It's already set in stone.
And it looks like we're going to have
so
to go
we're
to
gonna have a rematch in the blackout. We're going to have a rematch in the blackout game.
We're going to have to go to the Rhino because I can't put up with it all week. The Ravens and Niners rematch in the Super Bowl. I'm going to have to do some good restaurants.
I don't want the Chiefs there, Scott. I don't want to have to talk about Mahomes all week.
Dispensaries.
I can't do it.
Gambling at the table.
Well, that goes without saying, yes. I don't care who's there.
No sleep. Escorts. Booze, food, smoke.
Celtics win tonight.
I don't think so.
Win.
I like Dallas on 4 days rest with a 3.5. I really do.
I don't trust Dallas.
I don't trust anyone now.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The Lions were going to blow out the Rams, and in the first half I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game, and I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I can see why people would bet Boston at minus about 45, but I think the two of them are so exciting and so talented and so awesome. I went with and made the bet of the over 6.5.
There are issues with football character. Always doing the right thing, being in the right spot, being highly coachable. Why do they continue to fail in the big moments? It's football character, Ferrall. It's not a talent issue. That has nothing to do with it.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The early line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Ferrall
backup quarterbacks.
Coast to Coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
I
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was
Late
good betting.
Night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid
We
for
did.
information. Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I still think if we would have had Morency play his new guitar yesterday, the Bills would have won. They shut that down in a hurry. The network red phone rang, and that was all she wrote. And then, after that, everything started going downhill real quick. I woke up in a good mood. I don't know what the hell happened kind of day. Like, if he would have just played for 3 minutes, just and then we would have Bills by 9. And then instead, look what we got. That nightmare. So everyone in Kansas City, congratulations. And I think your boy, Davis Lee Ross, in on it, too. I think he's a closet Chiefs fan.
No,
Can
he's
we
not
listen?
closet. There's no closet about it whatsoever. There's no
He's
closet
full
for
out.
Davis Lee Ross.
He's full
he's
out.
a full out Chief. Yeah. Oh,
All
yeah.
right.
Full out.
So, but he lives in St. Louis, so he's phony. Anyway, let's go to the miss. I want to hear the miss on the radio at least.
Because here's why I wanted this one. I actually heard it last night because I like to torture myself, and I thought that this was 10 times better than the TV. And why? Because Kevin Harlan's on the call on Westwood 1. Bass missing wide right.
All right.
Tyler Bass will try a 44-yard field goal to tie. The wind at his back. The snap is good. The ball put down. The kick is up and no good. Wide right. Wide right. The Bills kicker missed a field goal. Wide right. Jubilation for the Chiefs sideline. 1:43 to go. Bass missing wide right from 44.
I just want to say it was as stunning to me as when the Patriots picked off Butler at the Seahawks at the goal line, and the New England sideline jumped up and down, and they showed Brady over there having an O on the sideline, and I hated him so much. And it's no different when I'm seeing this guy, Mahomes, run around like Superman with his coat on, winning all the time with his stupid bandana. Honestly, I can't. And I know how brilliant he is. I respect how great he is. I understand it. I will never say a bad word about his skill. I just, as a fan, I can't stand him. As a broadcaster, I can't stand him. And I'm entitled to that. I mean, you're a Bills fan. I'm a Steeler fan. I'm not rooting for that guy ever. I don't care who they're playing. I'm going the other way. Now let me hear what Josh Allen said, because I love this guy. He is like, if I wanted someone on my team, it'd be Lamar Jackson 1, Josh Allen 2. No one else matters in the NFL, in my opinion. Like, in terms of who do you want under center?
Yep, no doubt. Very broken up as usual. The past 4 years have ended the same way for Josh Allen and the Bills. How's it feel, Josh?
Kind of put into words the frustration of not getting past that team again.
Look at him. He doesn't even want to answer it. Look at his cuts on his hands.
Sucks. Losing sucks. Losing to them, losing to anybody at home sucks.
I mean, that just summed it all up right there. And I thought when he grabbed his collar and his hands were all beat up and had bruises on him and sores, cuts, whatever. He is an unbelievable. Now, look, Patrick Mahomes is just better than him. That's just all there is to it. Every time they play, he takes him to the woodshed. He's better. He's got rings. He's broken every record known to man. He's going to pass Brady. And I'm not talking about rings. I'm talking about he's already breaking Brady records. And the guy's been around for, 7 years? This guy is going to be in Canton. He's already in Canton. And the way he plays, the difference is he's a winner. And I think Josh Allen is brilliant, but he's not a winner.
Well, look, this is going to hang over him until he beats him. I mean, that's just the way that it goes.
Which will be never.
Does it mean, I mean, look, like I was saying before, could it be never? Sure, it could be never. But we've had guys in the past who eventually it finally happens, right? I mean,
not Aaron Rodgers against San Francisco. It's the same thing.
Okay, well, Rodgers got one at one point early in his career. Like, he's not 35,
not against them.
And it's ending.
I think Allen's haunted by him, Mike.
Well, then but at least he has time to get the haunting out. You know, he's got time to still change this thing. And I'm not saying that he's John Elway, but I thought it was a good comparison last week. Elway was a quote-unquote loser forever until the last 2 years of his career, and he finally won. Eventually you find it at some point. Manning got his ass beat by Brady forever until he finally beat him. Eventually he's got to get him. And hopefully it's sometime in the next couple of years, because and just because he loses to him doesn't mean he sucks. These people walking around here today, Allen State, okay, he's losing to the best guy that there is right now. Every year, albeit it's painful, but he's beating everybody else. He's just losing to the guy that's the best. That's just kind of the way that it's going for him right now.
No one that knows anything thinks that guy sucks.
Stupidity.
It's stupid fans that are
angry
and they want to blame. They want to, and then you get the death threats going and the hate and vitriol. It's just a waste of time. We all know how brilliant he is of a quarterback. He is as good as it gets. And I think, I said it before, Lamar, him, and Mahomes. Who's better? Yeah. No one. No one's better than those three guys.
And I think that, I know he was hurt this year and he's been hurt a lot, but I think that Burrow belongs in that conversation as well when he's 100%, when he's healthy. I think Burrow's beaten Mahomes. These other guys haven't said that.
Good.
Burrow's actually gone into Kansas City and beat him. So I think he belongs in that conversation to be there too. Here is Mahomes afterwards, Scotty. Of course, another win for Mahomes, this time for the first time on the road. He was definitely happy about that. Here is Patrick Mahomes.
Every time I go up against Josh, I know that it's going to come down to the end, just because of the competitor that he is and the player that he is. Same when I go up against Joe, when I go up against Lamar, all these guys. And I know how much fire they have, and they're not going to give up to the very end. And you appreciate that stuff. These are the games I watched growing up. The great quarterbacks going up against each other with great football teams, great organizations. And that's what I remember. So hopefully I'm making, like I said earlier in the week, hopefully we're making those memories for other little kids that are growing up watching football.
So when he was a kid, the word was he was a way better basketball player than he was ever a football or baseball player. He was he was a great guard, and he could really pass, and he could dunk and finish. He had it all. I wish he would have just kept playing basketball so I wouldn't have to deal with him in the NFL. This guy, I swear to God, now everyone, I can't even fathom people saying, oh no, I heard it today by 5 different people at least that I respect. 5 people just, oh no, they're losing to the Ravens. I'm like, that guy don't lose to nobody. He don't lose to nobody. He goes to the Super Bowl every year. Are you Lamar's gonna beat him like it's automatic? Nothing is automatic in the NFL, let alone someone telling me they're gonna beat that guy in anything. That guy Mahomes don't lose.
I won't be betting against him this week. Could I see the Ravens beating him? Sure, but I ain't going to the window. Trying to get my money after Patrick Mahomes. That's not something that I'm going to be doing. That's for sure. Here's Andy Reid, very proud of his team, Scotty, and of course has to make sure he talks up what a great job Sean McDermott did as well, since that's his boy. Here's Andy Reid.
All-time classic again. Every time we play one of Sean's teams, it comes right down to the end.
And I always kick his ass.
He's done a phenomenal job here, and a phenomenal job this year. Like Coach of the Year level coaching, and
they fire those guys.
We don't play them again. I'm good with that. But I'm so proud of our guys and the job that they did. Just one heck of a job.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, look, I'm not gonna deny McDermott did a great job this year. Carver High already said all that, and I won't be surprised if they don't fire him. And we've seen. Actually, Coach of the Year fired before in the NFL. We've seen a guy win 14 of 16 and get fired. So there's nothing that surprises me anymore with who gets fired and who doesn't get fired in the NFL. But that's, that Chiefs team, to tell you, I'm already having delusions of grandeur that I'm already seeing it, that they're in the Super Bowl again. I'm already seeing that I got to spend 2 weeks talking about them on this network and then go to Vegas the 5th through the 9th live every day with nothing but knobbing the Chiefs all day. And it's, I had more fun in the ICU having open heart surgery.
No doubt. And look, when you talk about them firing him, I don't think, look, I would fire him. I don't think they're going to fire him. There's a guy out there that you could make a case you could fire him for. That's for sure, to put you over the top. Maybe that's the guy, but...
And then he'd have a quarterback.
He'd have a quarterback, all right. So, hey, I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's worth discussing because it's out there still.
I think that's the best thing I've heard all day. I didn't even think of it, because everyone thinks they're going with him down in Atlanta. My buddy tells me that he and Rich McKay don't get along, and that's what's kept that deal from coming to fruition. We'll see if any of that's true, and then I'd absolutely run naked down my street if they ended up firing McDermott for Belichick. If he went to Buffalo to take on the Patriots twice a year for the next 5 years, I think that would be exactly what Roger Goodell wants.
And look, I don't think that there's a part of him that probably wants to try stick it to Kraft if he ever got the chance again. And going there and having a great quarterback. So, and that could be why he's not the Falcon coach yet, because he knows that there's a possibility that
I'll tell you another thing. I would fire Salah for him tomorrow. Actually, today, before the sun goes down.
That would require the Jets to actually think a little bit, which they're not going to do. Clearly, they don't do that. They're running it all back. You did the early game yesterday with Gabe, of course, Lions and the Bucks. Bucks were in this game, Scotty, in the second half. It was tight. It was back and forth. And then Lions went ahead for good. Jahmyr Gibbs busting out. Also, Westwood won.
Second down, a long 2 for the first. Ball just inside the 32-yard line. Single back is Gibbs. Gets the carry. Cuts up the middle. Big hole to 25. Goes left at the 20. Turns on the speed at the 10. Inside the 5. And on a diagonal to the pylon has a Lions touchdown. 31 yards for the lead. Jahmyr Gibbs and Detroit back on top, 23-17.
So I was on with Morenzi, and I said, in the middle of the game, why are they not giving the guy with the most talent and the most speed on the team the ball in Gibbs? He's the only guy making plays. He's the only guy scoring. He's the only guy no one can catch except Jameson Williams, who made a couple of plays. Give him the ball. And the other thing I said was, I am telling you that there's going to be a big play from Evans coming. And I said, someone's also going to miss a tackle against Evans. Both of those plays happened. The Shakir happened in the Bills game. I was on a roll in terms of watching these games. I thought Evans was unguardable. He went up top of the end zone to catch the touchdown. And then the bomb down to the 1 yard line was the best play in the NFL yesterday. That's all there was to it. And I thought Baker Mayfield played his ass off.
I thought he did too. I thought he played great. We hit with Evans, by the way, the tutties on Friday. Evans, Likely, Shakir. I mean, was there anything that we didn't hit? Really,
we hit
from
everything.
The weekend? We'll come back and hear from Campbell, Scotty, after the game.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
we're going to blow out the Rams. And in the first half, I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game. And I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I can see why people would bet Boston at minus about 45, but I think the two of them are so exciting and so talented and so awesome. I went with and made the bet of the over 6.5.
There are issues with football character. Always doing the right thing, being in the right spot, being highly coachable. Why do they continue to fail in the big moments? It's football character, Ferrall. It's not a talent issue. That has nothing to do with it.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The early line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterback,
Ferrall
backup quarterback.
Coast
to Coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
You
decisions.
have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the fourth inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
Sports Rage
That was
Late
competitive.
Night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid
We
for
did.
information, did like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
And the other thing, Carver High, is when you let them drive with the permit, and I let her drive to school, I fear for my life. I mean, it's like morning rush hour, and I'm like fearing for my going around S curves doing like 60 and snow and ice and rain. I'm like trying to explain to her the car's gonna spin out and wreck. She's like, I'm like, she drives like Starsky and Hutch driving to school. I mean, I want a part of what did Dan Campbell say with his big win over the Bucks?
Well, I think it's important, right?
Oh, here he is. Go ahead.
I mean, you
Dan.
can't.
Let it fly.
I don't know if it's, it's not the first thing you think of if you go to LA or just in general, right? You got the sun, you got the beach, you got plenty of other things going on. And here, man, it's harsh winters, right? Auto industry, blue collar, things aren't always easy. And I just think that's what we're about. And that was, you want something the city can be proud of. Though you can look at those guys and say, man, I can back that guy. I can back that team. I can resonate with those group of guys. They're kind of salty. They don't quit. They play hard. And so I feel like we've done that. And I think these guys, they have a kinship with this city in this area, and they love it, man.
Mike, I think it's true that there are people, when I lived in LA and San Francisco, I mean it, like there's definitely, millions of fans that love the teams like the Lakers and the Dodgers and, the Niners and the Giants and all that. But there's way many more millions of people that could give a rat's ass about them, that are like, I'm going to the beach, I'm surfing, I'm chasing bikinis, I'm smoking fatties, I'm rollerblading with my dog, I'm down at the park. I mean, I'm climbing mountains, I'm skiing. There are so many things to do out there that I noticed living there for over a decade. I was there 12 years. The people there, I mean, like, they don't even know the teams are playing. They could care less.